Hey guys, it's Chris. From strange structures that we're still trying to figure out to art made by mysterious animals, here are 9 of the craziest things found underwater. Number 9. Underwater Sculpture Park. Believe it or not, there's a sculpture park found in the Molinier-Basse-Jour Marine Protected Area of the Caribbean Sea off the coast of Grenada. It was open to the public in 2006. The sculpture park is very simple. It's a series of life-size castings of people and objects in various positions, such as one famous piece of children, many of whom were locals in Grenada when the statues were made, holding hands in a circle formation. There are many other sculptures in there too, including a man working at a desk and more. All of the sculptures were made by British sculptor Jason de Caires Taylor, and the entire park was placed about 4 to 5 meters deep into the Caribbean Sea. As for the intent of the sculpture park, it's not exactly what you might think. One part of it is to help enhance the very natural reef that is there. The sculptures were placed in a way to ensure that they didn't interfere directly with the wildlife, but the other intent is to show off the power of nature. Mainly in that nature finds a way to grow just about anywhere if given enough time. To that end, the sculptures are now covered in barnacles and other sea life, which is common in regards to sunken things like ships and other man-made objects. But with this sculpture park, they help provide the scenery for nature to take over. Number 8. The Baltic Sea Anomaly. In the Baltic Sea, there's a formation on the depths of its floor that, when looked at from above, does resemble the legendary ship driven by Han Solo in Star Wars. Yeah, it looks like the Millennium Falcon. Just about everyone who sees it agrees on that fact, which makes it all the stranger that this formation was not made by man. This interesting formation was found in 2011 by treasure hunters. A sonar device they had picked up the formation, and when they went to explore it themselves, they found a formation unlike anything they've seen or heard about before. What made it strange wasn't just its shape, but also that it was 300 feet below the depths of the sea, as well as the fact that the formation is 210 feet long. Ever since its discovery, people have been working out or trying to work out exactly what this thing is, who made it and why. Some even feel it's an alien craft that somehow crashed into the sea. Divers were able to get samples of the formation though. Based on scientific research, it was determined later that the formation was just that, a rock formation made by glacial movement. Because the whole northern Baltic region is so heavily influenced by glacial thawing processes, both the feature and the rock samples are likely to have formed in connection with glacial and post-glacial processes. Possibly these rocks were transported by the glaciers, explained Volker Brukert, an associate professor of geology at Stockholm University. But not everyone is buying that theory, especially since something about the anomaly causes electrical devices to stop working as it gets near. What kind of natural formation does that? And no one really has a good answer to that question, as well as others about the formation. So what exactly is the Baltic Sea Anomaly, and how did it get to that specific of a formation? The mystery continues. And if you have any thoughts, please leave them in the comments below. Number 7. Puffer fish art. In the mid-90s near Japan, deep-sea divers kept coming across these rather intricate art pieces that seemingly had no point, yet were clearly made by hand, or by an entity at the very least. They were so detailed and mysterious that they became known as the underwater crop circles. And for over a decade, no one exactly knew who made them and why. Eventually, though, it was revealed that the culprit was none other than a species of pufferfish. Pufferfish are many things in the waters, including one of the deadliest fish in the oceans via its massive sacs of poison, and apparently it'll make these patterns to try and attract mates. Males will flap their fins as they swim along the seafloor, which moves around the sediment, and amazing circular patterns are the result of that over time. What's truly impressive about this isn't just the detail that goes into the pieces, but also that the pufferfish is about 5 inches long, and these patterns are about 7 feet in diameter, which means that these pufferfish put a lot of effort into these pieces. What scientists can't figure out, though, is why the female pufferfish are attracted to these art pieces. Perhaps the art is a way to visually entice them and show the mates how far they're willing to go for love. but it's impossible to say. But it's another in a long string of unique methods to attract a future mate that occur in the animal kingdom. Number 6. Underwater Stonehenge. The real Stonehenge is a stone monument of questionable origin that can be found in England, while underwater Stonehenge is a strange stone monument of questionable origin that can be found in Lake Michigan in the United States. This monument was found in 2007, and the two men who found it were quite baffled by the discovery. Specifically, though, a professor of underwater archaeology at Northwestern Michigan University College, Mark Hawley, and his colleague Brian Abbott were the ones to find underwater Stonehenge. They were going over the lake with some sonar equipment looking for shipwrecks and found the bizarre monument rather unexpectedly. Just as unexpected, it's been over a decade since the monument was found, and we still don't have answers as to what it is, what it isn't, and when exactly it was put there. Research into the monument hasn't been conclusive, and more mysteries keep popping up the more it's looked at. For example, on one of the stones that are a part of the monument, there appears to be a drawing of a sort that features a mastodon. And if it's real and can be verified, which it hasn't yet, that would mean that this monument was made at least 10,000 years ago, or so they suspect. What's even more curious is that Lake Michigan has been sailed on by people for many hundreds of years, yet only a decade or so ago was the monument discovered. If it was made over 10,000 years ago, what was the purpose? Was it a symbol of a people who lived in the area? Or was it something more? Number 5. The Bimini Road. There are many reasons to go to the Bahamas, and one of those reasons is plenty of places for scuba divers to go down and explore the waters. And one of the things that you'll find underwater near there is the attraction known as the Bimini Road. This is a half-mile-long stretch of rectangular limestone blocks, and no one is really sure why or how they got there, or what the purpose of them was at all. It was in September of 1968 that this road was discovered by North Bimini Island. Joseph Mason Valentine, Jacques Mayol, and Robert Angrove. As the name suggests, some think that it was a road that eventually got drowned by the waters. Others think that it may have been the beginnings of a wall of some kind. Yet there is no evidence to suggest that these theories or others are accurate. This mystery is only added upon when you find out that this road is 18 feet below sea level. What's more, the road isn't comprised of similarly shaped blocks. Many are different thicknesses, shapes, and more. The size also varies, with some being 10 by 13 and others being smaller than that, with a length of maybe 7 feet. It's also been speculated that because they've been in the waters for many decades, the currents have weathered down the blocks that made the road and thus have ruined their true shape, which also means that clues that could have pointed to their origin have almost literally been washed away. Number 4. Gap between the tectonic plates. Tectonic plates not only hold our planet together, they allow us to live above water. That's because these plates are what the continents of our world are on, and thus there are 7 massive plates underneath the surface within the lithosphere, and the study of them has been a major focus point for scientists over the years, especially when they realized that they were moving away from one another in a very natural yet unfortunate way. This event is known as a divergent boundary. Specifically, the North American and Eurasian plates are moving farther and farther apart from each other every year. To be clear, it's only moving about an inch a year, but still, they're moving. If you go dive underwater to where the plates are, you can actually see the gap between them. And should you want to do this, you'll need to go to Iceland, where the gap can be found, and you'll be amazed by what you see. The water is apparently crystal clear, and the sight of the walls of the plates and their verticality can be quite mind-blowing according to accounts. But while it may be beautiful, if the plates grow too far apart, it could cause a whole host of problems for us here on the surface. Number 3. Black Sea River. There's an underwater river flowing through the Black Sea, and it was discovered by scientists from the University of Leeds in 2010. Upon its discovery, scientists were baffled by this, for it defies in many ways how a river is supposed to work. There's even a waterfall that can be found growing from it despite both being definitively underwater. The notion of an underwater river wasn't foreign to scientists, but the Black Sea River turned many of their thoughts and theories of it on their head. The water that flows in this river is actually much more salient than the Black Sea's regular waters. Because of this, the water that fills this river is from the Mediterranean Sea, which is a higher saline content. Upon further study, it was found that the Black Sea River not only flows at about 4 miles per hour, it actually flows in the opposite direction of most rivers on Earth when it comes to circling a bend. Adding to the intrigue, if this river was on land and not underwater, it would be the 6th largest river in the world. Since its discovery, other underwater rivers of various types and sizes have been documented. Number 2. Dodgerland. If you look at a map of Europe, you're going to notice that Great Britain isn't connected to the rest of the continent. But at one time it was, and this place is now referred to as Dodgerland. Dodgerland was a landmass, one that did indeed connect Europe to its northern regions. But between 6,500 and 6,200 BC, the area of land flooded, and now it's submerged within what is now the North Sea. As for just how big it was, geological surveys have suggested that it stretched from where Britain's east coast now is to the present-day Netherlands, western coast of Germany, and the peninsula of Jutland. As for what it was like when it was around, findings point to it being not just a place that mammoths like to roam, but it was also home apparently to many humans during the Mesolithic era. These findings include multiple remains of animals, many of which were unintentionally caught via fishing boats, weapons from that period of time, and more. Because of its size and potential wealth of information, it's been a constant point of study for geologists, archaeologists, and more. Number 1. Apollo 11 engine. In 1969, the Apollo 11 shuttle took 3 men from the United States to the moon, and it was a resounding success. Because they landed on it, the world was never the same. This was the culmination of the space race that happened between the US and the USSR. And many iconic moments in history happened during that flight, but also many things were left behind. As was standard procedure, after the shuttle took off from Florida, it ascended to the sky via a course over the ocean. When it did, it detached many parts from the shuttle, including its rocket engine boosters. A search for those engines went on for many decades to find them, but they were never found. That is until 2012, when a man named Jeff Bezos went out on a secret mission to try and find the engines. If you feel like you know his name, well, that's because it's the name of the CEO of Amazon. I'm thrilled to share some exciting news. Amazon.com founder and CEO Jeff Bezos said after the discovery, 44 years ago tomorrow, this was back in July 20th, Neil Armstrong stepped onto the moon, and now we have recovered a critical technological marvel that made it all possible. The 2 engines that Bezos and his team found were found in the Atlantic Ocean, but at first they couldn't confirm that they were from the Apollo 11. This was due to how long it had been in the water, added with stress done in by erosion, the fires from detaching, and more. There was one secret the ocean didn't give up easily. Mission identification, Bezos wrote. The component's fiery end and heavy corrosion from 43 years underwater removed or covered up most of the original serial numbers. The Kansas Cosmosphere and Space Center in Hutchinson, Kansas, were the ones who confirmed the discovery was indeed from Apollo 11. After a long process, they found serial numbers and unit numbers on the engine that noted which ship it came from, making it proof positive that these were indeed the engines from that legendary mission. NASA now proudly displays the engines as a testament to the space program and the first mission to the moon, and they will be honored as part of humanity's daring attempt to be more than just people of Earth, but also people of the stars. What might be the true irony of this, though, is that while these engine parts were recovered, many NASA and other space agencies have remains of other craft scattered all over the ocean, and they're not in a hurry to pick them up. Thanks for watching. What did you think of these crazy things that have been found underwater? Which ones do you kind of want to see for yourself? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to World List, and I'll see you next time.